Ngok here, and today I'm going to be doing my July wrap up. It honestly feels like just yesterday that I was wrapping up June for you. We are now officially over halfway through the year, and that's just incredible. I honestly don't know where this year's gone. This month I listened to one audiobook, and then the rest of the books I'm going to be talking about I actually read on my e-reader. So let's get straight into the wrap up. The first book that I finished this month was actually Vicious by V.E. Schwab, and I listened to this on Audible. I have heard so many people talk about this book. I thought it was an interesting premise. It's basically about two best friends named Eli and Victor who are doing their PhD, and Eli decides to investigate something that he calls EOs, which basically stands for extraordinary or extraordinary people, so kind of like X-Men. During the process of his investigation, he thinks he's discovered a way to create EOs, and he and Victor take it upon themselves to sort of experiment this and develop their own extraordinary powers. Due to an unfortunate event occurring, it kind of changes Eli's views about EOs, and he begins to think that it is his responsibility to wipe out what he calls these abnormalities. So as we progress through the story, it's kind of basically Eli versus the other EOs. I really regret not reading it for so long because it is now one of my favorite books of the entire year. It was just so well written, and I said it in my Goodreads review, I've mentioned it in comments on other people's videos, and I'll say it again. Vicious just reminded me of exactly how much I missed reading a really good, well-written standalone book. The plot was believable, it was unique, there was quite a small cast of characters which I particularly enjoyed, especially coming out of reading all of these fantasy books where there are about 10,000 characters that you have to remember. The characters were just so well fleshed out, their motives were explained brilliantly, the climax and the resolution of the plot was just, it was just on point. I obviously gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars, and I highly recommend it to everyone. The next books that I read this month, I actually read on my e-reader. They are part of our companion series, and that is Anna and the French Kiss, Lola and the Boy Next Door, and Isla and the Happily Ever After. So Anna and the French Kiss is basically about a girl named Anna whose parents have, or whose father has shipped her off to the School of America in Paris to do 1 year of study abroad, and she's not too happy with this, but she soon meets a fantastic group of people, makes friends really fast, and of course falls for the exotic American slash British slash French speaking Etienne St. Clair. The problem is Etienne is already dating someone named Ellie. This book gave me serious rating bipolar because when I finished it I rated it a 4 stars initially, then I dropped it down to 3.5, then I bumped it up to 4 again, and then on further consideration I think I'm settling for a 3.5 stars. Let me explain myself before you guys get angry. My friends and I have very black and white issues on cheating and what constitutes cheating, and I just think Etienne was playing a very, very dangerous game for the entire book. He really did lead Anna and Ellie on for a whole year. To his credit, when things get nasty, and if you've read the book you'll know which scene I'm talking about in particular, Etienne does resolve things very fast. I just think that he would have rated higher, in my opinion, if he had sorted things out before everything blew up in his face. I really liked Anna in this book. She's a real girl's girl, she's really funny, and she does try and do the right thing. She genuinely does try and become Etienne's just friend. I actually liked Etienne a lot more after reading Lola and the Boy Next Door. There's something that he says to Lola in the second book that makes me think he honestly was trying to make a considerable effort to just stay friends with Anna, and I think there was a significant part of the book where he was probably denying his feelings for her. But again, I still think that he should have had the balls to make a decision about Anna and Ellie a lot sooner in the book, and I think the book would have done just as well, and in fact I probably would have enjoyed it more had there not been that love triangle element. After I finished Anna and the French Kiss, I read Lola and the Boy Next Door. And oh my god guys, I think this book is so underrated and is so overshadowed by the hype surrounding Anna and the French Kiss. I enjoyed Lola infinitely more, and in fact I think Stephanie Perkins actually starts to begin exploring deeper and deeper issues as the book progresses. There was, you know, self-esteem issues in here, there was identity issues. Cricket Bell is just one of the most adorable male love interests that I've read about this entire year, and I adored Lola and the Boy Next Door. On the surface, Lola and her situation kind of seems like what Etienne and Anna were going through, except kind of reversed, but then it just becomes so much more than that. There's a really interesting point that Lola makes in this book, and that is that just because someone loves you or someone cares about you, it doesn't mean that you necessarily have a right to that love, I guess. And she really tries hard to earn him, and I think that's a really beautiful thing, that she doesn't take his love for granted. So I gave Lola and the Boy Next Door a 5 out of 5 stars. I actually read 2 Harry Potter books in between Lola and Isla and Happily Ever After. I was terrified of reading Isla. It's one of those books that's polarized the book community. I can understand why Isla as a character might frustrate some people, but I can understand where she was coming from and why she did some of the things that she did. I think Isla and Josh are just simply adorable. That scene in the last chapter, oh my goodness, oh gosh, that was just so romantic. It's romantic in that you could actually picture a guy doing this for a girl. It's realistic. The ending to this series was fantastic. It was perfection. Honestly, couldn't have thought of a better way to wrap up the series. I gave Isla and the Happily Ever After a 4.5 out of 5 stars, and the entire series I would highly recommend to everyone. So in the middle of last month, I started doing the Harry Potter Back to Hogwarts 2015 Rereadathon, which is actually hosted by Jessie from the book Vagrant. I'll leave a link to her channel below. I have a confession to make. I have never read the last book in the Harry Potter series, and when the last book came out, one of my friends decided it would be kind of cool to go on Wikipedia and look at the list of characters that die in the last book, and not only that, but tell me about it. If you're aware of who doesn't make it in the last book, you'll know that some fan favorites die. So I decided to boycott the last book. By the time that I decided, it's probably a good idea to finish this series that you've started, I picked up the last book and I was like, who the heck are these characters? And I was just so intimidated by rereading the series. When I saw Jessie's video, I thought, you know, this is perfect. I don't really know what it is about J.K. Rowling's writing that's just so captivating. It's clearly written for a younger audience. It's not overcomplicated. It's not fancy or anything like that, but it's just so gripping. And Harry Potter has to, hands down, have one of the best ensembles of characters of all time. Every single person that J.K. Rowling writes about has some sort of purpose. So last month I actually read Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, or the Sorcerer's Stone in some parts of the world, the Chamber of Secrets, and then I finished Prisoner of Azkaban on the 1st of August, but I'm gonna consider this as part of my July wrap-up because I read most of it in July. And honestly, I think Harry Potter is one of those series that you have to reread at least once because you just pick up so many things reading about it the second time. J.K. Rowling's foreshadowing is just next level, and obviously if you've only read the book once, you wouldn't have been able to pick up on those points. I do notice a lot of plot holes, I guess. You have to admit, even though the Golden Trio are awesome and they're fantastic, a lot of the near-death situations that they get into, they come out of sheer dumb luck. For example, in the Philosopher's Stone, what are the chances that the challenges they had to go through are just tailored specifically to their set of skills? And why does Professor Snape's barrier have clues? Like, if you're trying to stop someone from getting to the Philosopher's Stone, why would you leave clues behind? I don't quite understand. I can see why I enjoyed these books so much when I was younger. It has so many elements that I look for in a good book. Family is just such a strong theme throughout the books, and because I'm very close to my own family, and family is such an important thing to me, any books that have a strong family element, it just immediately connects to. There's plenty of platonic relationships. The characters just are people you would probably die for. I'd volunteer for them in the Hunger Games. They're just amazing. And obviously I rated all 3 books that I've read so far 5 out of 5 stars. I'm now reading Goblet of Fire, so I'm excited to continue with the Harry Potter rereadathon. I don't know if I'm gonna have time to read anything else this month, but that's okay. We'll see how it goes. I hope you enjoyed this wrap up. Thank you again so much for watching. Good luck if you are doing the booktubeathon. I will speak to you all very soon. Bye now.